Man, this is terrible. At least if Otega Oweh doesn't return to the Wildcats, it's not a good thing. According to sources, he has received some positive feedback, and it could mean that he is no longer at Kentucky and is returning. Well, let's analyze the news. The possibility of Otega Oweh not returning to the Kentucky Wildcats for the 2025-26 season brings with it a mix of concern and uncertainty, but also a considerable dose of pride in seeing a player developed in the program make the leap to professional basketball. While it is true that his absence would represent a significant challenge for the team led by coach Mark Pope, it would be unfair not to recognize how important this decision could be for the young point guard's career. This situation, although delicate, is a reflection of the university's continued success in producing athletes ready to shine on the biggest stages. The positive feedback Oweh has received from the NBA recently, as noted by CBS Sports' Matt Norlander, is a clear indication that his skills are being taken seriously by the league's scouts. Not only does it elevate his status as a prospect, but it also reinforces the quality of the work Kentucky has done in preparing him. For Wildcats fans, however, this news carries an emotional weight. The loss of a player as dominant as Oweh could create a void that is difficult to fill, especially on a roster that is still in the process of reshaping. Oweh's impact on the court is undeniable. With his striking physical presence and defensive versatility, he has established himself as a key piece in Mark Pope's rotation. His ability to control the pace of the game and impose his strength both offensively and defensively has made him a difference on the team. Should he decide to move on to the NBA, the Wildcats will need to find creative ways to compensate for his absence, whether by developing new talent or redistributing responsibilities among the players already on the roster. On the other hand, it is impossible not to see this moment as a triumph for the Kentucky program. The school has a long history of sending players to the NBA, and Oweh's potential departure would be another chapter in that tradition. Coach Mark Pope, who took over the team during a transition period, has demonstrated his ability to maintain the level of excellence expected in Lexington. Even with constant roster changes, Pope has shown an ability to adapt his strategy and mold competitive teams. Oweh's eventual departure, while painful, could serve as an opportunity for other players to emerge and prove themselves. In addition, Oweh's decision reflects the ambitious mindset that Kentucky seeks to instill in its athletes. Entering the NBA draft is a risky choice, but it is also a chance to fulfill a dream. If he chooses to remain in the draft and embrace the opportunity to play in the professional league, he will be an inspiring example for future generations of Wildcats. And even if his absence creates immediate challenges for the team, the institution will continue to be a great place. It's natural for fans to be nervous about Oweh's possible departure. He represents much more than just stats or individual performances. He is the symbol of an ever-evolving project under Mark Pope. However, it's important to remember that college basketball is, by its very nature, a cycle of renewal. Players come and go, but Kentucky's legacy remains intact. The trust placed in Pope to lead this transition is a clear sign that the program is in the right hands. As we await Otega Oweh's final decision, we can only wish him well, regardless of which path he chooses. If he decides to stay, he will be celebrated as an essential leader for next season. If he chooses to move on to the NBA, his journey will be watched with pride by all those in the Kentucky community. In either scenario, there is reason to be optimistic, whether it's the continuation of an exceptional player or the celebration of another step toward professional success. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has once again proven that the greatest players shine under pressure. After weeks of intense criticism and heated debate over his style of play, particularly his ability to draw fouls and exploit defensive gaps, the former Kentucky Wildcats player responded in kind with a stellar performance in Game 4 of the series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Scoring 40 points on the road, Gilgeous-Alexander not only led the Oklahoma City Thunder to a 128-126 victory, but also put his team one step closer to the NBA Finals. The story that has built around SGA in recent weeks has revolved around his ability to control the whistle, a reference to how often he gets to the free throw line. Critics have argued that his approach is overly technical or even manipulative, while his defenders have touted his intelligence and mastery of the rules of the game. However, after a low-key performance in Game 3, when he scored just 14 points and made 4 free throws, many began to question whether the pressure was finally getting to the NBA MVP. But as he has done all season, Gilgeous-Alexander was unfazed by the criticism. Instead, he used the skepticism to fuel one of his best performances of the playoffs. Of his 40 points in Game 4, 12 came on free throws, demonstrating that his ability to draw physical contact and score points from the foul line remains a potent weapon. Minnesota's fans, known for their passion and energy, tried to sway the referees with chants and boos whenever SGA approached the free throw line. However, this only seemed to strengthen his resolve. After the game, Gilgeous-Alexander calmly addressed the criticism and hostile environment created by opposing fans. "In my opinion, the fans will do whatever they can to help the team and take me out of the game because I'm the brains of our team. That's their job. That's what creates home field advantage," he said, demonstrating maturity and understanding of his role as the Thunder's leader. He also shrugged off criticism of his style of play, saying, "I've made more free throws in other seasons than I have this season. I think because we're on everyone's radar, it's a little bit more noticeable. People care about that now. I kind of take it as a compliment." That resilient, focused mindset is one of the reasons SGA has become one of the NBA's most dominant players. Ever since his days at Kentucky, where he excelled as a versatile and cerebral point guard, he's always been able to use his intelligence and patience to overcome more experienced opponents. Now, years after leaving Lexington, Gilgeous-Alexander is on the cusp of reaching the pinnacle of his career. With the Thunder leading the series 3-1, he is just one win away from taking his team to the NBA Finals. If the Thunder are able to advance, much of the credit will be given to SGA's calm but assertive leadership. Not only did he silence the critics with his 40-point outburst, but he also proved that he can thrive in high-pressure situations, a must-have quality for any player aspiring to legendary status. Regardless of the final outcome of the series, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has already secured his place among the greats this season. He is a perfect example of how a player can use criticism as motivation to improve and prove himself. For Kentucky fans, it is a special pleasure to see a former Wildcat shine on the biggest stage in world basketball, and let's see more of him. Comment below.